The Vice President of India is the second highest constitutional office in the country. Namaskar, hello and welcome viewers. You're watching In Depth with your host Kriti Mishra on Vice Presidential election of 2025. With former VP Jagdeep Dhankar resigning from the post of Vice President due to health reasons, the election to appoint his successor will be held on September 9th. In this edition, you'll get to know everything you wanted to know about this high-profile election. Come along. India is a sovereign, socialist, secular democratic republic with a parliamentary system of government. The republic is governed in terms of the Constitution of India, which was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 26 November 1949 and came into force on 26 January 1950. The constitutional head of the executive of the Union is the President of India. As per Article 79 of the Constitution of India, Parliament consists of the President and the two houses known as the Council of States or Rajya Sabha and the House of People or the Lok Sabha. Article 74(1) of the Constitution provides that there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister as its head to aid and advise the President, who shall exercise his or her functions in accordance to the advice. The real executive power is thus vested in the Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister as its head. Article 63 of the Constitution provides that there should be a Vice President of India. The Vice President acts as the ex officio chairman of the Council of States, that is, the Rajya Sabha. The constitutional post is vested with various powers and responsibilities. He or she even discharges the functions of the President in case of any contingencies. Let's take a look at the schedule of the Vice President's election in 2025. Issue of Election Commission's notification on 7th August 2025. Last day of making nominations, 21st of August 2025. Date for the scrutiny of nominations, 22nd August 2025. Last date for the withdrawal of candidatures, 25th August 2025. Date of polling, 9 September 2025. Date of counting, 9 September 2025. Under Article 324 of the Constitution of India, the ECI is mandated to conduct the election to the Vice President's office. As per Article 66(1) of the Constitution, the Vice President is elected by the Electoral College, comprising the elected and nominated members of the Rajya Sabha and the elected members of the Lok Sabha. In compliance with Rule 40 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Election Rules 1974, the ECI is mandated to prepare and maintain an updated list of the members of the Electoral College along with their latest addresses. The Commission has finalized the Electoral College list for the Vice Presidential election 2025. These members are listed in a continuous serial order, arranged alphabetically based on the state or union territory of their respective houses. The Election Commission of India has appointed Secretary General of the Rajya Sabha, Mr. PC Modi, as the returning officer for the upcoming Vice Presidential election. The decision follows established convention with the role rotating between the Secretaries General of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The appointments were made under Section 3 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Elections Act 1952 in consultation with the Union Ministry of Law and Justice and with the consent of Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. In addition to the returning officer, the ECI has appointed Garima Jain, Joint Secretary, and Vijay Kumar, Director, both from the Rajya Sabha Secretariat, as Assistant Returning Officers for the election. As the Chairman of Rajya Sabha, the Vice President presides over the meetings of the House. As the presiding officer, the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha is the unchallenged guardian of the prestige and dignity of the House. He is also the principal spokesman of the House and represents the collective voice to the outside world. He ensures that the proceedings of the House are conducted in accordance with the relevant constitutional provisions, rules, practices and conventions, and that decorum is maintained in the House. He is also the custodian and guardian of the rights and privileges of the House and its members. The makers of our Constitution, while establishing Rajya Sabha as second chamber of our Parliament, had envisaged a distinct role for it in our parliamentary system. The Rajya Sabha was meant to provide a second look at the legislation passed by the other house as also to prevent hasty legislation and not to prove a clog either to legislation or administration. Besides, it aimed at providing opportunity to the seasoned and eminent persons who have distinguished themselves in diverse fields such as literature, science, art and social service to serve the country. It was designed to give representation to the states in the apex democratic decision-making. The Vice President is not a member of either House of Parliament or of a House of Legislature of any state. If a member of either House of Parliament or of a House of Legislature of any state is elected as Vice President, he is deemed to have vacated his seat in that House on the day he or she enters the office as Vice President. He or she deftly handles the situations in Upper House of Parliament and ensures that members' rights of asking questions and receiving complete replies is well enforced and gives rulings on privileged matters and other procedural points. According to Article 65, when the office of Vice President is vacant, the Vice President's duties as Chairperson of the Rajya Sabha are discharged by the Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. This ensures that the functioning of the upper house is not disrupted. So what are the powers of the Vice President of India? Well, the Constitution lays down certain powers and duties of the Chairman of Rajya Sabha. He is empowered to adjourn the House or suspend its sitting in the event of absence of quorum. In case of resignation of a member from the House, the Chairman is required not to accept the resignation if, from information received or otherwise, and after making such inquiry as he thinks fit, he is satisfied that such resignation is not voluntary or genuine under the 10th schedule of the Constitution. The Chairman determines the question as to disqualification of a member of the Rajya Sabha on ground of defection. He also makes rules for giving effect to the provisions of that schedule. He is empowered to direct that any willful contravention of the said rules should be dealt with the same manner as a breach of privilege of the House. And the Chairman may permit a member who is unable to express himself in Hindi or English to address the House in his mother tongue. The Chairman's rulings constitute precedents which are of a binding nature. The Chairman is not bound to give reasons for his decisions. The Chairman's rulings cannot be questioned or criticized, and to protest against the ruling of the Chairman is contempt of the House. Various powers are also conferred on the Chairman under the rules of procedure of the Rajya Sabha in connection with the proceedings of the House, committees and such other matters as questions, calling attention motions, resolutions, amendments to the bills, authentication of bills, petitions, papers to be laid on the table and personal explanations. The Chairman may also, if he thinks fit, calls a sitting of the House before the date or hour to which it has been adjourned or at time after the House has been adjourned sine die, but not prorogued by the President. The Chairman's consent is required to raise a question of breach of privilege in the House. He can also suo motu refer any such question to the Committee of Privileges for examination, investigation and report. Parliamentary committees, whether set up by Chairman or by the House, work under his guidance. He appoints their Chairman and issues such directions to them as may be necessary in respect of the procedure and work. He nominates members to various standing committees and department-related parliamentary committees. He himself is the Chairman of the Business Advisory Committee, the Rules Committee and the General Purposes Committee. The post of Vice President was taken from the American Constitution. However, his powers are not similar to his American counterpart. But what about the election of Vice President of India? Well, we have broken down the process of electing the Vice President of India in simple terms for our viewers. Who can vote, the voting procedure and other mechanisms involved. Take a look at this detailed analysis. Article 66(1) of the Constitution provides that the election shall be held in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote, and the voting at such election shall be by secret ballot. In this system, the elector has to mark preferences against the names of the candidates. The elector can mark as many preferences as the number of candidates. While the marking of the first preference is compulsory for the ballot paper to be valid, other preferences are optional. The Constitution has explicitly provided that election to the office of Vice President shall be by secret ballot. Therefore, the electors are expected to maintain secrecy of vote. There is no concept of open voting in this election, and showing the ballot to anyone under any circumstances in the case of presidential or vice presidential elections is totally prohibited. So who is qualified to become Vice President of India? Well, an Indian citizen who has completed 35 years of age is qualified to become the Vice President of India, given he is also qualified to be a Rajya Sabha member. However, he should not be a member of either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, and if he is elected as Vice President, when he has a seat in either of the house, he is deemed to have vacated that seat on his first day in the office. He is also not allowed to hold any office of profit under union government, state government, public authority or local authority. From the date he enters the office, Vice President holds the position for 5 years. However, he can resign before 5 years by handing over his resignation to the President. The other ways where a vacancy is created in the office of Vice President are when he completes his term of 5 years, when he resigns, when he is removed, or on his death, or when his election is declared void. Well, viewers, that's all we had for you in this edition. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Sansad TV. Goodbye for now from my side.